If you, as a Hyundai i30 driver, say, I'm not satisfied with my sound, not the engine sound and not the exhaust sound, but actually the sound that comes out of your speakers, then I can understand that, because the sound is really a bit poor. You turn it up, nothing really comes out, the bass is mediocre, somehow it's not fun, and we now have the solution. We have put together an awesome sound concept for you that you can install yourself with our current video instructions and have a lot of fun in the car. Here are our speakers that we have perfectly prepared for you for your Hyundai i30. Then let's start with package V1. This is the basic version of Gladden audio. We now have two woofers that are also prepared for the Hyundai i30 as a built-in type, so only plug and play. The plug also fits, as well as the tweeters. These are now 25mm fabric tweeters, which are already built into this Hyundai i30 bracket. They have the right plug on them. For the rear, in the RC line, with a coaxial loudspeaker, also with a fabric tweeter. So everything in terms of speakers is very high quality, everything prepared for plug and play. There is also a cable kit to connect the whole plug and play to the car stereo. Everything is very clear here. We have a T-harness here. It is plugged into the car and then back to the car stereo. So simply plugged in, and it has our corresponding tab here where we can send the signal to the power amplifier with another cable harness. The cables from the loudspeaker have been tapped into the power amplifier. We're talking about this power amplifier here. This is the Pico 6.8 with integrated DSP processor. I will explain to you exactly what we have done with it and what its benefits are. The sound then goes into the amplifier, is processed, amplified, back to the loudspeakers via the original wiring to all four loudspeakers, and the whole thing can be installed really quickly. I will show you exactly how to install it in detail when we are finished with the product presentation, and now briefly come to the amplifier included in the Pico 6.8. Now let's talk about the amplifier. This is a 6-channel power amplifier that produces 4 times 50 watts of basic output and power RMS for the front and rear system, and actually 250 watts for a subwoofer in the bridge circuit. The last two channels, channel 5 and 6, link together to form one of the subwoofers. We have now prepared a complete sound system from Gladden. So V1 now includes, attention, 2 tweeters, 2 woofers as a front system, a coaxial pair as a rear system, the corresponding amplifier and the cable kit. This is how we got it from Gladden, and what would ARS24 be if we had not already prepared a perfect DSP setting for you and is already on the power amplifier in delivery state. Exactly for this arrangement, so it sounds really great. The subwoofer is not included in the V1 because that's just the basic version. So new front system, new rear system, power amplifier installed, power cable included, so not quite there because they are here in the next package V2. So let's get straight to the V2. We have already extended the power connection for you with a 2.5 square cable, so that you can now wrap the cable very sleek with a fabric hose. It is included in V2. Then prepared for a fuse holder on the battery. We connect plus and minus up to the battery. Accordingly, there are of course 2 ring eyelets included. There is a fuse with it, and it looks perfectly afterwards, because you can pack the OEM style cable and make it really nice. You can see now how we do it in the vehicle, and so the power is better prepared, because with the V1 a power cable comes out of here, but then has to be combined with other power cables, which you then have to buy yourself somewhere, or maybe you have to order it from us. First you have to prepare everything, but V2 is now the variant where we thought further for you. So this is our thought through kit. Because with the V1 only one insulation mat is included, so every door gets practically a quarter insulation mat. This is nice, but not thought through to the end. And we are making a package that is thought through to the end. We also have 3 more insulation mats, so each door gets a complete insulating mat for door paneling and door sheet metal, and we have 2 insulation foam mats in the kit, so that each door can make half an insulation mat foam on top of the door panel, so that the doors are really vibration free and the sound result is of course great afterwards.
Vibrationsfrei werden und danach das Klangergebnis natürlich mega wird. Ebenfalls in unserem V2
Of course, we have also integrated our release and ejection levers in our V2 package.
mit integriert.
You get everything there and of course an insulation tape so that you can work properly with it. And now the most important thing about the V2 comes.
Das Allerwichtigste am V2.
This is it. This is a special tool that I made for you so that you can get the tweeter grills out of your i30 without any problems. It's still a bit complicated, but if you don't have something like that, you don't even have to start. You will destroy everything in the vehicle. You won't enjoy it. I will include that for you and of course show you how to use it in practice so that you can remove the tweeter grill that you will see shortly in the video.
Dann gleich jetzt kommend im Video. Und
and of course you will get a special price as a complete package in V2.
Im V2.
It is intended so that you can decide for yourself which subwoofer you want to add to it. I'll give you recommendations right now because we have to make sure that we use 4 ohm subwoofers because it does not go well with other ohm numbers.
Anderen Ohmzahlen nicht optimal verträgt. Insofern gebe ich euch am besten
I give you 4 suggestions. We also have a V3 package, and now we finish our project. Because then you don't have to think about anything anymore. The V3 has everything in it. From the thought-through package over the basic variant to the subwoofer, and of course I have prepared the sound setup for you on the DSP amplifiers.
Für das Sound-Setup der DSP-Endstufe, das so weit vorbereitet, dass der Woofer und alles
so that the subwoofer and everything play together perfectly and you will really get a big grin on your face. When you turn on your new system for the first time and you say, really? Is that possible? With so little effort, assembly effort, because everything is already so well prepared. And if I show you now how it is installed, you will laugh how easy it is. As already mentioned, you can of course add subwoofers as you wish, just make sure that it is definitely a 4 ohm version, otherwise we might get a problem with the amplifier. I now have 4 subwoofers that I can definitely recommend, and I will tell you what you can expect in terms of sound.
Die ich euch auf jeden Fall mal empfehle und ich sage euch gleich dazu, was man da an Klang erwarten kann. Fangen wir an bei
Let's start with the SQX08 VB vented box. This is an 8-inch subwoofer in a bass reflex case. So it turns out to be quite small, but it really makes a deep fat bass. But of course not quite as fat as a 25 cm membrane, for example.
So fett wie jetzt zum Beispiel eine 25 cm Membran.
The Alpha 10 SB, like sealed box, a closed box without bass reflex.
Box ohne Bassreflex, der klingt total trocken, fett.
It sounds totally clean and strong, you know what I mean. So really a great punch and really makes a perfect level for the whole system.
Pegel zu der ganzen Anlage.
I recommend this to you. It is also included with the V3.
Dabei. Wer da noch was hat und sagt, mir scheißegal, ich brauche richtig viel Bass, was wir rausholen können.
Here, the M12 VB, a 12-inch subwoofer in a bass reflex case, so it pushes really hard. In my opinion, or for my taste, almost a bit too much. But if you like something like that, listen to a lot of hip-hop or just like a bass thunderstorm, you can add something like that. And if you like it invisible, you can buy the ARS24 RB Dual. Unfortunately, I don't have it on the table right now.
Habe ich jetzt leider hier nicht auf dem Tisch liegen.
In the end, it also has 4 ohms, can be put in the spare wheel recess, and there are 2 20-inch subwoofers inside, which have the membrane area of a 25-inch, but are now completely hidden. You can put the lid over it on the Hyundai and then you can't see anything, and that's the same in terms of sound as the SB 10-inch, also really dry, full bass that is really good fun and is even invisible.
Der richtig Laune macht und sogar nur unsichtbar ist.
Of course, I put the webshop links to these subwoofers below so that you can also find them there with the names of all the types here.
Von den ganzen Typis hier dran.
Before I show you how complicated it is to take out the tweeter, let's take care of the simpler part, the door panel. We'll dismantle them now, take out the loudspeakers, replace them and do the door insulation. In itself, it is also quite easy with our included remover tool. We can take the rubber out inside here and loosen a single screw with a Phillips head screwdriver.
Und mit dem Kreuzschlitz eine einzige Schraube lösen.
And again, our remover tool is helpful. Down here, at a small point, you can easily unlock the entire door panel. It's quite easy. Stop! I forgot something. This part is just clipped. We can get in here and unlock it. And now we can take the whole door panel out and unplug it from the back, from the lock, and this plug. There are 2 plugs on the driver's side, no problem. With a 15mm Torx, we can loosen the 4 screws and disconnect them here on the side. So guys, just among us, from the front they look somehow similar. But if you turn the whole thing around like that, you will see that the unit here does not correspond to what we are installing now. Now we also have an amplifier, so there is even more power. Here, this loudspeaker, it really fires the bass into the driver's area. This is now the first insulation mat that Gladen includes with the system. You get another 3 from us and we will now install them on the door and on the door panel. Firstly, we can start now with insulating the outer sheet panel. We can put 3 larger parts in here and attach them on the outer skin. As always, rub it on properly so that there are no air bubbles underneath, where even water can possibly accumulate. Apply it anywhere on the sheet metal. Here, the enclosed wave insulation mat. This is an impregnated material which can be attached to the outer sheet metal. It practically stops the reflecting sound in the back here. So it also has a great acoustic effect, and we can now add a quarter of the whole mat to the back and incorporate such small sections.
Kleinen Abschnitte mit einbauen.
Our speaker set comes completely pre-assembled for the Hyundai i30. That means we don't need to attach the connector to it anymore. But what we have to do now, this is included in our additional kit, we are also making an insulation adaptation on it, so that the plastic on the plastic is firstly tight and secondly, of course, cannot start vibrating and emit any disturbing noises.
Nicht zum Vibrieren anfangen kann und irgendwelche Störgeräusche von sich geben kann.
Now we mount it back on.
In die entsprechenden
Put the old screws back into the corresponding holes and attach them. That was it for the woofer, and we also attach a little insulation to it.
Hier noch gleich zusätzlich mit dran.
With a plug-and-play connection, it is really easy to install such a loudspeaker. But we don't just do it well, we do it better. With our sufficient butyl material, we can also insulate our loudspeakers better by cutting the mat down into a thin stripe and also attaching them directly around the loudspeaker.
So ein Band noch mit runterschneiden und auch direkt um den Lautsprecher drumherum anbringen.
That means here we are adding weight so that the vibrating unit is in principle even better suspended, so that the maximum efficiency for the bass range is simply preserved and we get the maximum out of it.
Bassbereich, also gerade im Bassbereich macht sich halt einfach sowas bemerkbar, erhalten bleibt und mir das Maximale rausholen.
We have now prepared the loudspeaker actually as well as we can manage. I think that's enough.
Vorbereitet. Ich denke, das langt.
Now let's go to the door panel and insulate it too. From behind there is already a light layer of insulation material on the door panel, such as an acoustic material. We can get rid of it for now. It's good though, but we're doing it better. You can just click it away here, and now a good tip. With a pair of scissors, you can just cut the fabric so that it is practically deserted again, so nothing will fray here. You can just cut that thing off.
Man kann das Ding einfach abschneiden.
Please do not cut it away with a knife, but press together with scissors, and then it looks like this.
Und dann schaut es so aus.
Again and again I mention such shopping lists here. You can definitely put them away before they make any vibration noises, or do it like us, we just stick it over now.
Wir überkleben es jetzt einfach.
These are just the order numbers for the original one. Nobody needs anything like that. Away with it. And now we can also attach the rest of our first insulation mat to the door panel.
Noch auf dieser Türverkleidung anbringen.
Well then, we can put a big mat here.
Eine große Matte, die wir hier mal auflegen können.
Then we cut out the bracket here.
So,
Then we have our loudspeaker here.
so ein Lautsprecher. So, und jetzt können wir das schon ringsrum.
And now we can stick everything all around and think always, press really hard into the cracks that there is no air anywhere.
Irgendwo Luft hat.
The remover tool is also great for such things. You can use it to press and sometimes even use it for cutting the material so that it is better in all the gaps.
Zu ritzen, damit es besser in den ganzen Fugen drin ist.
As you see it here. This insulating foam is also included in our additional package, 2 mats of it. That means half a mat per door. We can cut it in half and this is all available to us. You can see, that is enough. That is actually optimal. And now we can take this pan out of here and fit the whole thing in here.
So, und das Ganze hier reinpassen.
You can still work on that with scissors and you can work around the loudspeakers.
Den Lautsprecher arbeiten.
We can now glue the rest on really nicely.
Schön aufkleben.
Do not cover any connectors, but in principle it doesn't matter how it is on here.
Wie das hier drauf ist, das
That mutes all the noise away. Now I'm going to show you another special on the loudspeaker. We now cut an approximately 5 cm wide strip that we can attach directly to the loudspeaker as a sealing ring.
direkt am Lautsprecher anbringen können, und zwar als Dichtring.
So let's do that here. Let's go halfway here, so that the part is more or less glued to itself.
Damit der Teil quasi in sich verklebt wird. Eigentlich wollte ich das Wort quasi mal eliminieren. Kommt mir aber immer wieder über die Lippen. Und
And now we can glue the whole piece on here, so that we get a foam mat sealing ring on the front.
aufkleben, dass wir hier vorne dran so einen Schaumgummi-Dichtring kriegen.
In this way we, so to speak, decouple the sound again or minimize the sound that practically develops again under the door panel, where we have now actually also added the foam. Not good, but even better.
Aber nicht gut, sondern noch besser.
Dear Hyundai i30 fans, that was it with the installation of the door loudspeakers. It works that easy. Plug it in, put the door panel back on, so it really doesn't get any easier at this point. That was it. Look everywhere that the clips are in the guide.
In der Führung drin sind.
That was it. Put one screw back in and the door is done. For the rear speakers, it's exactly the same with the door panels as for the front ones. I don't like to show you everything again. You know how it works. They can just as easily be clipped away. We'll take out the speaker, except that that's a different type of speaker. But it can be installed in the same way as the other. I'm just showing you how to get the speakers in. You can do everything else in the same way as with the front doors. With our front speaker system, we have a woofer in the door and a tweeter separately on the dashboard, which we have replaced. And here we have already integrated the tweeter into the loudspeaker, into the woofer. It's a simple equipment, but just the right thing for the rear that you can install like that. And please make sure that the loudspeakers are directed upwards, because the tweeter is installed at an angle inside the loudspeaker. So pay attention a bit.
Schräg installiert in diesem Lautsprecher drin. Also hier ein bisschen drauf achten.
Everything is now fully installed. We have again attached our ceiling frame. Now we can put everything back together and assemble the door exactly as we disassembled it. Let's get to our tweeters. And now it's getting a bit special, but I think you have a very good partner with ARS24. You remove the side panel with the remover tool, which is included in the scope of delivery. You can take off the rubber a bit in a very simple way and then the thing will fall out anyway. That's just clipped with 3 clips. You can also let it hang like that, and now comes our special tool that I made especially for you. We are now entering above this ventilation shaft, where the white material is still on it, to the back, up to the tweeter, and there we also see the connector. Such a white connector, and exactly behind this we have to go in and set up our tools so that the pen goes up. Now we can lift the grill away using leverage, and I can now lift it up and unlock it here. If it's a little outside now, we can go all the way under it with our remover tool. The grill is just clipped all around, but held in pretty tight, and you can't get it off without pushing at this point from below. You see, this is where I just got in with my tool from down here. This is where it comes out, right behind the tweeter, and there's this space. I can't get through anywhere else to slide the grill up. You don't have to start thinking I'll somehow pull this out from above and drive in on one side. It is so precisely integrated into this recess and clipped so tightly, you can't get it out without actually breaking everything here and not having fun in the end. Without our special tool to unlock the thing from below, you will have a broken grill that you don't want to use anymore. On the right side we already have it open. There's another screw we have to remove now, so you can unclip this unit so that we can later unscrew the multimedia unit. First, get the screw out. For you guys, I'm going to stretch myself very long. This part has to be clipped out to the front. It's like a little barb, and now you can pull the whole thing out to the front. You see that? Of course, you can also use a remover tool and go in here, and now you can unclip the whole part.
Das ganze Teil hier entklippen. So, nochmal weg. So.
There it comes out. Everything is clipped.
Bis ganz rüber. So, bis daher.
So, we already have everything done, and so that's simple and easy. We can unplug it and put it away.
Und weglegen.
Before disconnecting such plugs, it is of course advisable to disconnect the battery, so simply disconnect the mass, so the whole car is de-energized and the error memory isn't running full with error messages. So everything has already been unplugged and we can go on. Below we find 2 Phillips screws so that we can remove the ventilation shaft. Stake out once. And now we have 2 more screws in here, also Phillips. We also need to remove them. When we have loosened the 2 lower screws, we have 2 more under this plastic cover up here and the plastic cover that we can now unclip here and remove it. And now I have a little trick. Now we have those metal things. Here we can enter underneath. It hooks in on the back and we have to remove that.
Und das müssen wir halt lösen und dann haben wir
And then we already have it in our hands. Take it out to the front and take a microfiber cloth or something so that nothing gets scratched. And we are now taking off the power supply elements. These are the two which are included in our cable adapter and we plug them in.
Und die stecken wir, na, wie oben gehört er dann rein?
Once, twice, they are plugged in.
Stecken wir hier an.
And the two now fit back into the connector on the car stereo. In there, and this one belongs in there.
Da rein und der gehört da rein. So, und jetzt haben wir...
Now we haven't broken anything at all on the cable itself, but we now have an adaptation possibility. And now our cable kit comes into play. Here we have prepared our cable kit so that we can now make this tab here with the two adapter plugs.
Hier mit den zwei Adaptern-Steckern machen. Adaptern, Steckern.
So here and there. That's what I meant. We take the sound from the car stereo, go into the amplifier.
In die Endstufe rein.
From the amplifier, back to the speakers, back to the original wiring, and now pull the adapter cable through the shaft behind. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But in addition, we also have two more tweeter cables. The gray one is led to the right one, the white one to the left, and that's because of this crossover, so that the tweeter already has the correct frequency. We have a passive front system. The woofer and tweeter is practically one and the same channel and so far prepared. The subwoofer cable is also prepared in this cable kit. The blue cable is 5 meters long and can now be laid down there, where our amplifier comes in, on the side, on the sills, all the way to the back, and the subwoofer is then connected there. But now we're going to put the pre-assembled cable in here. And we can run the cable around here, including the tweeter cable, all through here. And now watch out. There on the side we go down past the ventilation shaft.
Vorbei von dem Lüftungsschacht. Also am Lüftungsschacht vorbei. So, das war's.
So that was it, and now we can pull all other cables around there as well. It's really easy. And now we are where we want to go and we can connect our plugs here.
Bereits hier anstecken. So.
We already have our tweeter cables here, which we can now pull through to the right and left under the cockpit with a cable lying tape under the cover.
Unterm Cockpit durchziehen können, unter der Verkleidung. Und wir jetzt an der Stelle
and now we just put this cable down here on the side. We can get there quite easy and can pull the cable towards us from below, because the amplifier is also down there.
Weil da unten ist dann auch gleich die Endstufe. So.
So just by laying through, we now have our two connection cables already here. Of course, we can also use it to pull down our subwoofer cables. How do we get the cable from the stereo slot to the tweeter without having to dismantle the whole dashboard? I'm just saying pull-through tape. And of course, I will put this pull-through tape in our V2 and V3 versions.
V2 und V3 Version natürlich beilegen.
This is of course essential so that the installation is easy for you. From here, we can now put the cable through the back, carefully. And then we'll come out there at some point.
Okay.
Now we can take our tweeter cable and glue it to the end.
Und an das eine Ende ankleben.
Really tight with our smooth insulation tape.
Glatten Isolierband.
Make it really tight so that it doesn't slip off like right now.
Nicht so wie ich jetzt hier gerade, damit es leicht weggeht.
We just make it a little longer and wrap it closer to the yellow belt so that it holds
An
properly.
dem gelben, damit es richtig hält.
And now it is tight and you can pull it carefully through
Vorsichtig. Einmal durchziehen.
until it gets out of here. There it is.
Genau.
And we can actually go through with it. Then it's gone here. We can plug it into our new tweeter and completely assemble it again.
Und den Hochtöner auch schon wieder vollends zusammenbauen.
We do the same on the left side and we are already through with the tweeters. Our new great 25mm fabric tweeters are now only plugged in and the cable can be stowed in here. Insert them and tighten them with the same screws that we took out. So far we've actually made it pretty easy for you, except for the tweeter, which is a bit complicated to get out. That's why we thought we just add this braided hose and you do something yourself. We have already prepared this power cable for you so that it is long enough to get to the battery. This braided hose, which is already on here, you have to put on yourself. But everything is included in the kit. Fix it with electrical tape and the two cables that hang around here. These are remote in and remote out. They are only for external amplifiers. If you want to connect additional amplifiers or something else is necessary. We don't need the cables at all during the installation of the amplifier alone. We can also wrap them and connect them so that they are gone. We now have to pull our prepared power cable through here towards the engine compartment to the battery. And there you will find a rubber sleeve exactly to the left of the clutch pedal where such a Bowden cable goes through, and there we can now put our pull-through tape straight through to the front and pull our cables through.
Direkt nach vorne durchstecken und unsere Kabel mit durchziehen.
Okay, here we can go through this. Right behind it I can already see our cable coming out, our pull-through tape. So, there we have it. And then we can pull it up here again. I've already put the cable back on with insulation tape. Here we come up from the inside with our cable. And we can now equip them with a fuse holder and squeeze ring eyelets on them and attach them to the minus and plus. With insulation tape we can also attach the cable to the ground cable directly, so our cable is also fixed in place.
Dann können wir auch hier unsere Masse.
Then we can also put our mass ring eyelet on it. We can now theoretically add the ground to it, but the ground cannot simply be screwed onto it. That is deserted here. We are now making a fork out of the ring eyelet because we actually have to get in between here. Down there is also a ground point, but it's difficult to get there. To be honest, that I prefer this variant at this point. Now we can clamp it on the ground pole directly. Next, we put the corresponding ring eyelet on one end of our inline fuse holder, and on the other side we squeeze the female side onto it, so that we can make it plug and play.
Steckbar machen können.
We have built our fuse holder so that it sits in the back and our ring eyelet can be attached to this nut later on. We now reconnect it with the counterpart here on the cable that goes directly to the amplifier.
Kabel drauf, das ja direkt zur Endstufe geht.
Then it looks really delicious. Now we can also attach the ring eyelet completely, because firstly it is already secured and secondly the cable is not open but integrated directly into the fabricated plug-and-play connector.
So, den machen wir ganz auf. So, uns und drauf.
We are already done in the engine compartment and now we can put the cable, which we already have inside, under the steering wheel in the direction of the center console and install the amplifier there and plug everything together. Done. We come from here and have to go there, and this blade can be unclipped here just as easily as on the other side, and accordingly we can now put the cable up here and then move it over from up here.
Erstmal hier hochlegen und von hier oben dann nach drüben fahren.
We can fix that with a cable tie on another cable and then we are already where we want to go. Take a look down there. We can now grab our power connector, which we have already laid. Here we have our loudspeaker plug. We connect it also. And on the other side, It only fits in here, so everything is problem-free for an amateur. And now we can pack the whole thing in here on the side.
An der Seite reinpacken. So.
That was it. It's on the carpet and firmly secured inside. It's actually made for it. And now we're putting the lid back on here and lay our subwoofer cable right into the trunk. On the side, we will now remove the sill panels. We will also pull the rubber away on the side, and now we can already unclip it.
Entklippen.
So that's it. With a lot of manual skill, we can even put the cable through here. But we also remove that right away. That's just clipped as well. Once here and once there on the side. That was it. And now we can put the cable in here under the carpet. And come out here on the side. Let's fixate everything nicely again. Exactly. Then everything is as before and we can now continue to lay our cable here on the side. Of course, we can also attach it here with insulating tape so that it looks nice. Now we can put the panel back in and close it.
Und wieder zumachen. Dann machen wir das halt noch fest.
Here at the front we reinsert it and down here over the cable.
Wo ist das Ding? Hier und hier unten vor allem wieder reinfügen und wieder da und hier über das Kabel rüber.
Well, then it all fits. Fine. Before we pull the cable through to the B-pillar, we can clip out the rear seat. It's just clipped in, because here we can pull the cable straight into the trunk afterwards. And here is another screw that we will loosen. That's a Phillips head. And another one under here. And now we can take the whole thing, and here we pull the rubber away, just like at the front.
So, und können das Ganze.
And we can clip everything away.
So.
Wonderful, we have everything removed. Everything is just clipped. We don't need to dismantle anything else, because now we're making it easy for ourselves. We take our pull-through cable again and pull it up front along the other cables, and we are already at the front. Attach our cables and pull them through. Here we attach our cable with the insulating tape again and pull it through to the back.
Einmal nach hinten durch. So, haben wir schon. Einmal durch.
So we already have it, and now we can close everything again. That was it. It's easy to put the rubber back on the vehicle.
Und den Gummi wieder draufsetzen.
Finished. At the back we can also secure the cables right away. Let's leave our cable on the pull-through cable and go here. We have to feel that a little bit. We push the cable directly under the seat through the back and grab it from the trunk. And now we can pull the cable straight through from the rear. There we have it, subwoofer cable in the trunk. We can put that back in here, put the cable up here, and then we close this again. In the V2 and V3 kit there is of course also a wire sleeve that you can squeeze onto here. So that you can put it nicely into the subwoofer terminal.
Kommt schon.
Our Alpha 10 SB is coming into play now. The blue cable with the black line is ground. This is also very important. Only then it sounds really good with the front system. Otherwise we would have a phase shift inside. It has to be right. Boom! Now we can already hear a sample because we have finished the installation. We put in the fuse at the front, then we have power to the amplifier and everything should work. I'm very excited now. What do we have here? Beautiful voices. so I don't need to do anything. I already know how it sounds. I did the setup. But now that everything is installed again, and the setup was already installed. It's always a surprise. Installed, everything ready, turn on and enjoy. I set the sound for you so that the voices are beautiful in front of you in the middle of the dashboard, and together with the rear speakers you have a great feeling of space. Actually, you have the feeling that you are sitting in the middle of the music. The bass that punches really nicely. The subwoofer works extremely precisely with the front system. That means he's really making a boom that is tangible. It creates a great mood, and of course you also have sound when you want a little more bass or to increase the volume. So we don't need to hide from anything. I'll just turn it up a little now.
Also ihr merkt schon, es wird ziemlich laut und wir haben auch Bass.
That has it all in terms of bass, volume, precision. The highs sound totally smooth in here. So the sound system, I think, can be built in, except for the tweeters, where it is a bit complicated, but it can be solved with a special tool that I put in the kit. So with the V2 or V3 package you will have a lot of fun. Even with the installation, it's actually a cool thing to do something yourself in order to be proud of having done it yourself and now being able to enjoy the sound. Guys, never miss out on another video from us, because after all, we're not just doing it for Hyundai, but actually for all sorts of vehicles. Nice videos and try to design such systems that you can recreate. Otherwise, you can of course also follow us on Instagram or give us a like on Facebook and subscribe us on YouTube. Until next time, you're Olli.